All right, folks. Hey, how's it going? Once again, Joshua here. Another edition of Boxing History every night. I am here live along with a special guest, very special guest. That is Joe Cusano. Joe Cusano, retired pro official and aficionado. He does more than just officiating, of course, as you know. Joe, it's great to hear from you. How you doing, Joe? Hopefully you hear me well.
No,
Having a couple of technical difficulties. Technical difficulties, folks. All right, there you go, Joe. There you go.
no.
You're in there. I see you. You got me? You hear me, Joe?
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay, cool. All right, we're in there. We're in there. We're live now.
All
How
right.
you doing, Joe? How you doing?
Good, very good. Yeah.
All right, yeah. Hopefully this holds up. I was saying that, yeah, retired pro official, but certainly more than that, of course. Joe Cusano holding it down from Connecticut, New Haven, right? New Haven, is that what it is?
Yes, New Haven area, East Haven.
All right. East New Haven. Good stuff there, Joe. Haven't talked to you. I feel like it's been forever and all that stuff. But I share the story all the time, Joe. Believe it or not, I share this story all the time of running into you at the Boxing Hall of Fame, the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York.
Yeah.
And we just so happened to run into each other. You gave me all the pointers and tips and everything that I needed to get me in line to be able to become a boxing official, which I still am there, Joe. I still am a boxing official here holding it down. So, yeah, that is a story I always share. I'm very fond of it.
Great. Good luck to you on that, too. I just, I remember that night. I think there were two boxing shows going on in upstate New York at the same time. I had the Rochester show, and there was a show at Turning Stone.
Yeah, Turning
And
Stone. I believe it was I
are
believe it
you
was
there? I think I
the
lost you.
yeah. I'm still here.
Are you
You
there?
hear me? You hear me, Joe?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And
Turning Stone Resort and Casino.
you were at that show that night. Yeah. So I was
Yes,
driving
yes.
back. I stopped at the Hall of Fame and I met you and your lovely lady Melissa. And we just started talking boxing. And just kind of knew right away that you had a passion for it. You were very athletic. Yeah, I thought maybe you would bring a lot to the sport as an official.
Good stuff there, Joe. Yeah, that just so happened to be it was Ruslan Provatnikov versus Lucas Matisse.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. That
Uh,
was expected to be a barn burner, a straight brawl, and I was looking forward to it. I know you were looking forward to it. A lot of people turned out that night.
right. I was on a different show. I was in the Rochester, New York show. I
Okay,
wasn't at
okay,
that show. But
okay,
coming through to go home, I had to go right by the Boxing Hall of Fame, so I stopped off in there. And
okay.
yeah,
That was that. Yeah, you know, and we randomly just kind of ran up on the Boxing Hall of Fame. I think we just so happened to take an exit. We were going to get some gas, and just so
uh,
happened we saw the Boxing Hall of Fame there, and I was like,
yeah,
"What do you know? Let's go check
yeah,
that out." No way I could
right.
pass that up right there.
Yeah, I've been there a bunch of times, and especially during induction weekends back in the '90s, it was really
Okay,
amazing. Great
so
stuff.
I've wanted to go
Uh,
for one of those
yeah, good,
events for
good stuff
sure.
up there.
Okay, good stuff there, Joe. Yeah, I
Um,
wanted to go for one of those induction events. I haven't been for one of those. You know, I've been up there to Verona again, of course, but I
okay,
haven't
I'm
been able to
losing you again.
check that out. You got me there, Joe? You hear me now? You hear me? You got me, Joe?
Yeah, I lost you again.
Folks, can you hear me? Can you hear me, folks? Real quick, let me say salute to my mom out there checking us out. Salute to my mom here who is attending, checking out the stream and everything. Here with Joe Cusano,
I don't know
who
why I lose you.
helped to get me into the boxing officiating ranks for sure. There, I got you, Joe. I got you. I can hear you, Joe.
Okay, yeah, every now
I
and
can
then
hear
I
you.
lose you, but I don't know why. I'm still sitting here.
It looks like we're good now, but yeah, I was giving a shout out to some people who dropped in. So salute to Rodolfo Rivera Jr., who just dropped in. Rodolfo, salute to you there. We got to get it on here in some Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know what that means. You know what that means. Some heads have to go. Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Salute to you, Bruce Gas. Appreciate you dropping in, buddy. Says salute, brother Johnson, Joe Cusano. Hey, salute to you there, Bruce. Hey, Joe's up in Connecticut. You know, there your neck of the woods there. Bruce, retired pro official there, Joe. So right there in your neck of woods there, Bruce. Rodolfo says salute to Bruce Gas, of course. Random acoustic thoughts. Hey, appreciate your random acoustic thoughts. Looks like Joe's moving around, just getting that signal right. We can hear him. We can hear him. Can you hear me, Joe?
Now I can hear you. I actually got closer to my router in the hopes that would work.
Okay, yeah. You're good. You're good. Yeah. I hear you just fine there, Joe. I was shouting out some people who dropped in. Check us out. Random acoustic thoughts. Salute to you, Random. Of course, we always do some good history talks and all that stuff. Yeah, some people saying that, hey, they can hear us. They can hear us there. Beagle. Salute to you, Beagle, for being in here. Appreciate you being in here, Beagle 47. All of that good stuff. So you hear me fine right now, Joe?
I'm hearing you fine right now.
Okay, good to go. Good to go. That is good stuff right there. So I was saying, so I went to the Hall of Fame just that once. You know, I want to go again, even though I have been up there to Verona, of course. And of course, we ran into each other at one of the shows in Verona, I believe it was. It was might have been it was either Bivol versus Pascal. Was it that? Or
no.
Jennings versus Rivas? Or maybe Jennings versus Rivas.
Heavyweights were the main event.
Yeah. Bryant Jennings versus Oscar Rivas. That's what it was.
Right.
Bryant Jennings versus Oscar Rivas. It was good right there. It was good. I got a chance to run into you again there. Some years there in the making. So it was a good time right there. That was probably like, I know that was pre-pandemic. You know, we say pre-pandemic, like ACBC nowadays. So pre-pandemic, we did run into each other, but no, it was good. It was good. It was good to actually just run into you again, being there. And like I said, I said again, I share this story all the time of running to you there. And the officiating ranks, they have been great. A lot. I've learned a lot there, as you know, going through the process yourself. Of course, you gradually just continue to go through. You gain experience as you're in there officiating, working these bouts and all of that stuff. I'm not pro yet. Hope to get
there. It takes a while.
Yeah. Hope to get there at some point. All the good stuff. So and I've shared that you were a retired pro ref. So how many bouts did you do, Joe, if you recall?
As a pro, I refereed for 13 years, from 99 to I think 13, so about 13 or 14 years.
Oh wow!
And then I judged for 3 or 4 years after that. So I've been away probably for about 5 or 6 years now.
Okay.
But now, you know, I'm on the board of directors for the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame, and that's a nice thing I'm enjoying. If you're ever up this way, the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame is in Mohegan Sun, and it's a nice room with great display, and Connecticut's just got great boxing history. So it's good to be able to represent, make sure these guys get recognized and their place.
Okay. So Mohegan Sun, you know, that's a venue I haven't been to. You know, I might have mentioned to you, I've been to the East. I've been to every state on the East Coast except for Connecticut and Rhode Island. But Mohegan Sun is certainly on that list because I know there's actually a bunch of good boxing events that go down there. So I got to get up there to check some stuff out. So the Connecticut Hall of Fame. So that is the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. How long has it been around? Has it been around for a good while, or just fairly new?
The Hall of Fame, I think it's been 17 years.
17 years.
This is my first year on the board of directors, but I've attended every one of our induction ceremonies. We've had some great history. Willie Pep, Marlon Starling, Bat Battolino, Chad Dawson. So, you know, it's just some great inductees. Pardon me?
Did you say Battolino?
Bat Battolino.
Yeah, yeah,
former featherweight champ from the
yeah. So he's
20s.
from Connecticut. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Hartford.
yeah, Hartford,
Wow.
right,
I know
right.
him. I know of him. I know of him, Joe. Yeah, that's historic stuff right there. I know you're attuned to the history. As a matter of fact, I was gonna ask you about Willie Pep because that's someone you actually you were friends with Willie Pep, right?
Yeah, there's a movie right now that's it's finished, it's complete. It's playing at the Venice Film Festival. It's
Oh
called The
wow.
Featherweight. I got a part in it as a referee,
Okay.
refereeing one of Willie Pep's fights.
I've,
that,
I've mentioned that. I've mentioned that, Joe. I have mentioned that, and I was like, I was like, hey, there's this referee. I know him. His name's Joe Cusano, and I've seen him in a picture with this actor that looked like Willie Pep. I thought they did a good job of actually casting because he did kind of favor Willie Pep. So it's at the Venice Film Festival. I wasn't sure of where it was, but I figured it was probably already filmed at this point. So it's running now. So it's going to be called The Featherweight.
yeah, it's called The Featherweight. It's at the Venice Film Festival. I'm not sure where it will premiere in the movie theaters. If it does premiere in the movie theaters, they're planning on having that up in the Hartford area. So that would be great. But
Okay.
yeah, that was that was quite something just to spend the day on a movie set and see how a fight scene is done. I mean, no real acting
Okay.
on my part. I was just being the referee, but it was done differently than what I had expected. You know.
Yeah, I just had a fellow ref. His name's Jose Flora. He was in the Big George Foreman movie, and he was refereeing the Ali versus Liston. No, Ali
Ah,
versus Foreman fight. Sorry, and
ah.
yeah, he was mentioning they just kept having to do the same little thing over and over again.
Yeah. Well, they had me up in the ring by myself for about 45 minutes, just moving around like a referee with no
Okay.
fighters in the ring. Then they would put the boxers in the ring or the actors in the ring, and they would exchange some combinations which didn't really come close to landing. So I'm looking forward to see how that happens. Call cut, and then the makeup girl comes in and gives them a black eye or a cut eye, and the makeup girl did all the damage.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, that's good stuff. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah, Willie Pep, one of the
Yeah.
all-time great. Yeah, on this channel, matter of fact, Joe, we talk about history primarily. So everyone who's in attendance, they're into the history of it. Of course, Willie Pep has come up because he's one of the all-time greats for sure. And of course, I've only seen like interviews and things of him, and he just seemed like a genuinely just nice guy. Just hearing him in the interviews and hearing him talk and the way that he eloquated himself and all that stuff just seemed like a nice guy to just be around and have a conversation with.
He was a nice guy. I mean, I got to know him well later in his life. I went to
Hmm.
his 75th birthday party. And in those days, when I was refereeing in the amateurs, he was always a guest at every amateur show. Always front
Okay.
row. We treated him wonderful. He treated all the amateurs just great. The kids just looked up to him. He was a big local hero, and so getting to know him was a pleasure for me because I think back about the first time I ever met him, and I was just a kid,
Okay.
and I knew who he was, and I approached him randomly in a parking lot with a friend of mine. Just happened to see him, and I was probably no more than 12 or 13, and he was friendly to me, and real friendly. And he says to me, he goes, "Hey kid, how's your old man? How's your father doing?" I says, "Good." And he's okay. Tell him that Willie Pep said hello. And I didn't know my father knew Willie Pep. I went home that night and said, "Dad, you know who Willie Pep is?" He says, "Yeah, of course I know who Willie Pep is." And so he told me to say hello. He says he did. My father didn't know him personally, but
Okay.
Willie threw that out there and made me feel good.
Okay, okay, that's the good stuff right there. That's a great story. I
Yeah, and then to get to know him later and to get to, be a part in the movie, it's really special.
Okay, yeah, that is big time. Long overdue as far as the movie. I know he has an amazing story, having survived like a
A
crash.
plane
Was it
crash,
plane crash?
plane crash, broke his
Plane
back.
crash. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah. And come back, and the man had like 230 fights. Most
Right,
of his losses came later after he was 40 years old.
right.
Great series with Sandy Sadler. It's amazing
Yep.
because I read a lot about fighters from those days. Right now, I'm reading about Tony Canzoneri,
Okay.
and the amount of fights that they have is incredible.
Yeah, I know it doesn't even compare to today, and that's why, I'm a big fan of the history there, Joe. I got to
Yeah,
tell you, I'm a big fan of the history, and I think a lot of times, of course, we're kind of in a new technological age. You can get stuff in a split second, as they
yeah,
say. You can digest your videos in 60 seconds, right? So they
yeah.
don't know about the greats and all that stuff. So I like to highlight them because I think about, of course, we have very good boxers today, some who will go on to be great, of course, but just thinking about those guys back then, it doesn't even compare just the amount of fights and experience that they had competing in the sport just overall. Because, like you're saying, Willie Pep, how do you even like fathom something like that? Like right now in this particular time, someone having 200 plus fights, nearly 300 fights, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. And he had an active amateur career before all that. But the
Yeah.
author of the book, Willie Pep's biography, Tony Canzoneri's biography, is a good friend of mine. His name is Mark Allen Baker.
Okay.
And we have discussions about that. We wondered, question was, if they sparred as much in those days,
Wow.
because they didn't have a lot of, today they might have 2, 3 fights a year. Up and coming
Mhm.
fighters, hard to build a career nowadays because of the loss of the club shows and the hotel
Mhm.
ballroom shows. And, so I think in those days they didn't have a lot of time in between training camps. They went from one fight to the next. I had a
Yeah.
friend, Gaspar Ortega, who was a
Oh
very
yeah.
personal friend of mine, lived right up the street from me.
Great
And
fighter.
yeah, and he'd been, he fought them all through the 50s and 60s. He had about 170 fights. The man had like, 4 fights a month. He was just incredible. Um, yeah, I just don't get how they did that back then, but
Hmm.
today they just don't fight often enough for me, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. Understand. Yeah, it certainly different. It's hard to compare the sport because one of the big things, of course, with boxing is doing these little fantasy fights and all of that stuff. But
Yeah,
certainly hard to compare someone with 200 plus fights against someone with 40 fights. It's just
yeah.
such a big gap right there.
Well, I have respect for all the fighters, so
Yeah.
whatever the safety is the most important thing. And I
Hmm.
known a lot of old time fighters that were walking on their heels at kind of younger ages. So that was a
Yeah.
bit much back in the day. But my refereeing days was a lot of innovations done through boxing with weigh-ins
Okay.
and the way we officiated. The commissioners really making clinics much more readily available for us to attend and standing by in
Hmm.
support of stopping a fight. I never
Okay.
really cared about an audience's reaction, but making sure that the fighter's healthy, leaves the ring, able to come back again another day. That's the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
important thing. Yeah. And in those days, I mean, I've seen some fight videos of some of those days. This fight was way too long.
Yeah, yeah,
It
certainly that was the case. That was definitely the case. They wouldn't go on like that these days for sure.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's amazing that they had that kind of fortitude.
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
boxing
certainly.
had opportunity too, in those days. They had the opportunity to fight. Gaspar Ortega was a world traveled all over the world as a fighter. Uh, he was a great man. He impressed my parent. My father was a boxing fan, got me involved as a
Okay.
boxing fan as a kid. My very first fight was seeing what my father was, Patterson Johansson too.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
you saw that? Yeah.
I
Okay,
was
that's
10
it.
years old. But I used
Okay.
to watch a lot of boxing and to see Gaspar on TV almost every week back in those days. Later on, when he became a friend of mine and living up the street from me, I got to bring him to see my father, to meet my parents.
Oh,
And
wow.
my father was just, enamored by it. And he spoke fluent Italian to my mother and father, and they were very impressed. He was an amazing guy.
That's pretty awesome right there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Gasper Ortega. I mean, yeah, Connecticut. That's hey, they've had a number of top level boxers just over the
yeah.
course. I did a video on a guy. I believe he was in Connecticut. His name was Kid Kaplan. Was it Connecticut? I believe it was Connecticut where Kid Kaplan spent some time at there. Just studying the history, and I became familiarized with him. He was in the early 1920s and or 1920s to 30s or whatever. Just a good while back. But yeah, Gaspar Ortega, yeah, great fighter right there. I mean, of course, Pep, you name it, battling Battlino, just world champions that come from Connecticut. It's one of those kind of low key spots that have had some great boxers come out of there.
Marlon Starling
Marlon Starling, wow.
should be in the International Hall of Fame.
Oh yes.
Uh, Chad Dawson.
Oh,
On
bad
my very
chat.
first night refereeing in the amateurs, on my very first night, I refereed through 3 future world champions. They were all young 10 and 12-year-old kids, but one was Chad Dawson,
Hmm.
one was Mike Oliver, and another one who was actually older and starting to turn pro was Tarvis Sims.
Okay.
And it was just amazing that 3 world champions came out of my first night
Wow.
refereeing in the amateurs. And then later on, I got to referee Mike Oliver and Chad Dawson in the pros. And so that was something.
Oh yeah, that is pretty awesome right there. Getting to actual officiate them in the pros. That is pretty. I didn't know that there. I didn't know. I didn't know that you officiated Chad Dawson, bad Chad, because I watched pretty much a lot of Chad
Oh, Chad,
Dawson.
Chad showed, talent as a 10-year-old. He was just amazing. My best night in boxing actually was reffing Chad Dawson on the undercard of Gaddy Ward 1.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Gaddy Ward 1, I sat in the first row ready to
Wow.
jump in the ring if anything happened to the referee. Frank Cappuccino was absolutely amazing in that bout and helped make that a classic.
Wow.
But that was one of the most exciting nights for me.
Yeah, hey, that is one of the greatest fights just in the history of the sport of boxing.
Oh
Period.
yeah,
What was that
yeah.
like being there front row,
Uh,
seeing that action back and forth?
it was just amazing. I mean, speechless. The crowd was so loud, especially where I was, but down at the ring, it was so loud. And it was a local big time fight because Mickey Ward was just came from up the road from
Hmm.
Connecticut, from Lowell, Mass. So um, we all knew it was a great matchup the minute it was announced. And when I got assigned to do Chad on that undercard, I was very excited because I'm glad Frank Cappuccino had that fight. Though let me say that because he did a great job. He did a great job.
Oh yeah, good stuff. That is a classic right there. Oh yeah, that is
Uh,
pretty awesome right there. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Gotti Ward won. I mean, you're talking about just one of the fights that stand the test of time. If anyone
Uh,
mentions boxing and
I
someone
thought
new
it
to the
was.
sport, you want to see a fight. Gotti Ward won. That is certainly one of them.
I got a great photo of me somewhere taken from way above where you could see down into the ring and you could see me just the row right behind the timekeeper. And it was just, that was my best night in boxing. But Chad knocked this guy out in the first round. So,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Quick night, right? Well, quick
yeah,
fight right there, huh?
yeah, yeah.
All right, that is good to go. Real quick, Joe, I just want to say salute to the Boz. Cheers to you, Boz. I know you gotta go right there, but that is good stuff for sure. The Beagle 47 says this is crazy to witness history, 3 world champs as amateurs. Yeah, that's pretty insane. Then Bruce Gass says tomorrow is the anniversary of Marlon Starling winning the title against Mark Breland. That's tomorrow.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
crazy,
remember that too. That was a great one. Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna call him tomorrow to remind him. Says Bruce Gas. All right, good stuff there, Bruce. Wow, that's pretty awesome there, Bruce. And yeah, that's pretty awesome, Joe. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
yeah, man, just thinking about Gotti Ward. I mean,
Yeah,
just to be there to fight like that. I know, and just being able to recall such. I mean, that's amazing in itself because
yeah.
you think about boxing, how deep it goes, and the fact that you have one of the standout matches in the sports
Yeah,
history, which is a deep history. That says a lot right there. That
yeah.
says a lot, certainly, because it was without a doubt a standout fight. It's one that's mentioned to this day and will continue to be mentioned in history.
Yes, absolutely. And they became great friends afterwards
Oh
too. Even
yeah,
though they
yeah,
fought
yeah,
two more times,
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
became great friends.
That tends to be how it goes right there.
Yeah.
That tends to be how it goes. Yeah, yeah. So
As a matter of fact, I think Mickey Ward trained Arturo Gatti for a fight afterwards, after
oh
their
wow,
trilogy. And Mickey Ward retired, and
that's
he
pretty
worked
funny.
with the team, the training team for Gatti. Walked out into the ring with him. I forgot what fight that was for Gatti, but I got to research that one.
Okay, okay, that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that is good to go. That is pretty funny right
yeah,
there. So much
yeah,
history right there.
yeah.
I was gonna mention something, Joe, when you were talking about Willie Pep. So he has there's like a Willie Pep restaurant, right, or something like that.
Well, there was a
Pizza
Willie
shop.
Pep. There was a Willie Pep cafe that was in operation up until about 5 years ago in
Okay,
Hartford. I'm not sure who
okay.
was managing it at, at the end, if it was still in the family or not. But yeah, the Willie Pep Cafe. And back in the day, Willie has hands in just about everything around. He was a great spokesman for local businesses, and everything was on all the local commercials. And he was a character. He was a
That's
fun
good to
character.
go.
That's the
Willie
one.
freaking Pep. Yeah,
Yeah.
just being a fan of the history. Yeah, I love to hear those stories right there, Joe. And I knew you had recalled. I had recalled you before mentioning you knowing Willie. Man, that is so awesome right there. You talking about, man, just history and just one of the greatest fighters ever, like period. And it's hard to put it in perspective, especially for those who haven't really looked into the history of the sport. Just how great of a fighter you have to be to stand out amongst the sport that has gone on for so long. It's
Yeah,
gone on for so
absolutely.
long.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he's one of those individuals. Hey, Beagle had mentioned, Joe, name a great boxing history moment you won't forget.
Name one that I won't forget. Well, certainly I'll not that I've been involved with, but Ali Frazier one was just,
Okay.
you know, that was it for me.
Okay, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
gonna
I
mention
didn't like
that,
the
Joe.
way Ali lost. I was a huge Ali fan, and
Yeah, yeah.
so it was
So
a. But for Joe Frazier too, you never not like Joe Frazier.
okay,
I got to meet both of them too later on,
that's
and that was
awesome.
a highlight of my life too. Yeah, so
Wow, that is
boxing
awesome.
boxing brought me around to meeting some heroes.
Okay, yeah, yeah. One of the things I had in the back of my mind there, Joe, I knew that you are a fan of Ali, and of course, I've always said Ali was the GOAT. I've been
Yes,
when Sam Langford in those ranks there, but man, it's just something about Ali. He was just such an
yes,
amazing fighter for me there, Joe, and I know that is the case for you there. So Ali Frazier won the fight of the century right there. I can only imagine, yeah, just witnessing that, and I've seen it a few times here at this point, and it still stands the test of time to this day. Oh, we lost Joe there for, hold up, give it a few minutes there, folks, or seconds that may be. Looks like we lost Joe. Oh, okay, there we go. Here we go. Hey, there
okay, I
you go,
lost you
Joe.
there
You're
for a second. Yeah, okay, yeah.
back. You're back there,
Last,
Joe. Yeah, I was saying that. Yeah, I've seen Ali Frazier won a few times, and yeah, and it's just one of those amazing fights that still stands the test of time. But for me, Ali, he has always been someone that I just consider to be the greatest of all time. And then studying the history and all that stuff, hey, there's validity to it as well. He's just pretty amazing what he was able to do. And considering how he was able to move and everything as a heavyweight, that's something that just stands out in my mind.
the people that he's influenced, Ali. I mean, I was a
Oh yeah.
13-year-old kid when he fought Sonny Liston, and I could, wasn't watching on television or closed circuit, but I couldn't wait till the fight the next morning to find out who won that fight. It
Wow.
was just a huge, huge event when he fought Sonny Liston, and most people didn't like Ali in those days.
Mm-hmm.
I was 13 when he fought Liston, and so all through my teens and into my 20s, he was an active fighter. I watched everything he did. He was just a big sports spokesman and humanity as well.
Oh yeah, certainly. So wow, yeah, that's pretty crazy. 13, yeah. So was it like yeah, in the aftermath there, like at school and all that stuff amongst youngsters, was it like a big thing for others as well?
Yes, I mean there was a lot of division going on with. I came from my father, a big boxing fan.
Yeah.
Rocky Marciano all the way with my
Oh yeah,
father.
Rocky,
So as far as he was concerned, Rocky was the best.
The
And
Rock.
as far as I was concerned, it was Ali. So we'd have our debates over that too.
I can only imagine. You know, they did that little computer test or whatever, computer
Yeah, and I
little.
saw that when it was. I went to a movie theater to see that, as a matter of fact. But I understood
Okay,
they had a lot of different endings that they showed in different theaters.
okay. Oh, so
Yeah,
you went to theaters to actually watch it?
yeah, yes. It
Wow,
was shown
that's
in a movie
crazy.
theater.
Was a
Yeah.
lot of people there?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, yeah, there was a lot of people there. I was probably in the late 60s, 68, 69. I would have been about 18, 19 years old when they did
Wow.
that. And yeah, and I just couldn't imagine Rocky ever. Neither one of them was in shape. I mean, if you
Yeah,
watch the
yeah,
video
yeah.
from that, they were all both paunchy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just couldn't imagine Rocky ever beating Ali, and yet my father just couldn't imagine it the other way.
Oh yeah.
And I love getting in debates about that, you know.
Yeah, you know, it's still one of those debates that goes on to this point. You know, we talk about that. Yeah, I just know even with this generation coming up and all that stuff, even some youngsters and all that stuff, that
Yeah,
is still something that is hot on the mind right there. It's pretty crazy that you have
yeah,
these fighters from that particular time period, and they're still talked about, and there still is a debate in that regard, right?
yeah, yeah.
That is, yeah, that is pretty amazing. But man, yeah, that's
Would have
insane.
been a great fight because styles match up. It would have made for a great fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, styles make fights, as they say.
yeah,
Styles make fights.
absolutely. I
There
might
are
try
cases
that
for both of
someday,
them.
being a matchmaker.
Yeah. You can make a case for both of them. It's just one of those things, you know. There are things you can like about both of them in strong suits, you know.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Bruce Gas here. Bruce Gas. I think he's around your age there, Bruce, and he said that fight was wild and nobody knew the ending till the theater showed it. Okay, wow, that's pretty crazy.
yeah. Some theaters had different endings. Yeah, the
Wow.
theater I
So
was in, Marciano won.
okay. So that was almost like the real deal right there. So you went into it not knowing who was gonna get the victory. That's pretty
Right,
crazy. That
right.
is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome
And
right there.
that's how hard up we were to see Ali in those days too. And computers were, you know, back then just something was unimaginable for the average person. It was
About
in
the
the
size of a
infancy
house, right?
stages of computers too. So to some people that was fact. It was a computer doing it.
Okay. Bruce Gas says that the European version had Ali winning. So interesting. I had
Yeah.
heard something about the alternate endings. I hadn't seen anything like where they showed it or anything, or I hadn't seen any video showing it, but I had heard about the little alternate ending type situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I can only imagine it added fuel to the fire in terms of just for those debates, those fantasy
Right.
talk discussions, you know.
Right.
That
Right.
is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that is awesome there. You know, I was thinking, Joe, just when I was looking back on when I was uh when I met you there in Canastota and all that stuff, deciding to get into the officiating ranks. Joe, I didn't had no idea what I was getting into. Why didn't you tell me?
I'm sure you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Some of
Yeah,
everything. You know, you hear
yeah,
it all, see it all.
yeah.
Is such
But
an
you're
experience.
absolutely right. You know, I when I got to refereeing, I was an old rookie. I refereed my first amateur bout when I was 43, I believe, and I refereed my first pro bout when I was 49. So
Okay.
I got started a little late. I wish I got
Okay.
started younger. A lot of the guys that were around for a few years already were actually younger than me.
Okay.
And but I've had some great mentors in boxing, and a lot of coincidences. Was it when I was in my very early amateur days? I'd met Arthur Mercanti
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
senior, and
Wow. Senior.
a lot of encouragement and support from him. And then years later, I would get to work with him on the same shows.
That is
And this is the
insane.
same Arthur Mercanti Sr. who refereed Floyd Patterson Johansson too. So,
Wow.
you
That
know,
is crazy.
yeah, that was, and then I worked with him. He gave me some great, support, and built my confidence up. Another, a lot of different people I got to work with over the years that I learned from. And the
That
same
is.
will happen from you. You'll work with the more
Oh yeah,
veteran
that is awesome.
referees.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is without a doubt awesome right there, Joe. You know, I ran into yeah, there's a ref up here. Yeah, a number of refs that I've learned so much from here, from Latasha Watson, Jose Flores, Brent Bovell. He's a ref up here, and he actually had recommended me when I had first met him. He had recommended a set of books, and it's actually Arthur McKenty Senior's book was one
Hmm.
that was recommended. I read that. Pretty
Right.
amazing. Some of the
Yes.
fights that he was able to be involved in and all of that stuff. That's pretty amazing that you got to
Right.
work with him right there, especially
Right.
having read that book.
Yeah.
That's insane right there, Joe. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, you have memories.
I mean, years later in the 90s, I was at Ring Magazine's 75th birthday party in
Okay.
Atlantic City, and it was like a 3-day event.
Okay.
And I met Floyd Patterson, Ingemar
Oh wow.
Johansson, and Arthur Mercanti, and got a picture with them all, and told them the whole
Wow.
story about how that was like my first fight. So then, to just later on get to work with Arthur, that was pretty amazing. But as a referee, some of the things that also work really well is to have training partners that you work with. I was lucky to
Okay.
have my good training partner, Mike Ortega, Gaspar's
Okay.
son, who's still a world class referee working out of Las Vegas.
Okay.
Uh, and I had a protege come on board where it was a true case of teacher versus, meets student, and student teaches student teacher's teacher. And Danny Schiavone was one of my training partners, and
Okay.
Danny's still active. Actually, he's currently on a little bit of leave dealing with a medical issue, but we made each other better
Yeah.
working with each other, and getting a lot of assignments together and driving to the assignments and going over constructive criticism. I mean, all that's very important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, yes. That is, I commend, yeah, all those involved right there, Joe. Like I said, yeah, it just being up here, DC. I guess I kind of lucked out because it does have some story boxing history, and there's a lot of boxing that goes on here. So I get the opportunity to be involved in a number of events, and that's not always the case in some places. So it's helped me just being able to be around some of these different officials and just the number of events that I've been able to be involved with right there. So I definitely understand and feel where you're coming from right there. But yeah, that's some pretty historic stuff right
Yeah.
there. Small, I always say small world in boxing there, Joe. Small world, who you're right into, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. I remember one night being invited over to Gaspar's house. And he and Mike, his son, were going to watch a fight. They invited me over. It was a pay-per-view fight. And I get there, and it's a big surprise to me. Joe Cortez is sitting on the couch, ready to watch the fight. So here I'm watching the fight, and I'm only young in the amateurs, and I'm watching with Gaspar and Mike and Joe Cortez, and we made plans to go to the gym the next day, and Joe Cortez worked with me a little bit that day. So, I was lucky to meet some good people that mentored me. Frank Cappuccino. These were top
Okay,
referees that I used to watch on TV that
Frank
eventually
Cappuccino. Yeah, I know that name.
I was eventually able to call them friends and colleagues, and that was all great.
That's awesome. That is awesome stuff right there, Joe. Hey, Bruce Gatz mentioned a great fight that happened today was Gomez Sanchez, Bazooka Gomez versus Salvador Sanchez. Ask Joe's memories of it.
Yes, I remember those fights. Sanchez was amazing. What was he, only about 22, 23 when he died? He was
Yeah.
just an incredible legend in the making. Yeah. I, I remember Willie Pep, fighting as a featherweight, and I remember saying to Will, "Champ, who would win, you or Salvador Sanchez?" He says, "Who's Salvador Sanchez?"
Got it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, good thought. Hey, yeah, Willie. Hey,
Yeah.
he was well traveled. I think I did one of those little. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, I did a little fantasy matchup on the YouTube community feed where you can like post things right there. A lot of people chimed in. It was I think Pep got the edge there. But that's a good one. That would have been an interesting one right there, Joe. That was an interesting one right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Sanchez was a little bit bigger. He was bigger, but Pep, man, he was so amazing. He's so amazing just defensively and what he could do, what he went through. I mean, it's tough to call. It's just one of those things. It's almost like yeah, everyone can make a prediction or whatever. But hey, the two fighters would have to just get in there and do their thing.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching Salvador Sanchez's two fights on TV against Danny Little Red Lopez. Those days were amazing. Those fights were on TV.
That is funny.
Free
That is,
TV on Saturday afternoon. My World
I
of
know.
Sports.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah.
so hey, we have all these streams these
Uh,
days, Joe. Is funny thing is I remember saying to myself, yeah, I had ditched cable a while back and I was like, I'm embracing streaming, but now there's so many of them, it seems like cable might be the more optimal thing to go with to keep up with them.
yeah, right.
It's one of those things. Yeah, Bruce Gas. Salute to Bruce Gas because he was showing Danny Little Red Lopez fight not too long ago. It was him against Mike Ayala, I believe. Mike Ayala. That,
Yeah, I
that was a
remember that.
war right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Those guys would
Yeah.
bring it. They would
Yeah.
bring it. Hey, Beagle47 asked, "Did you know Randy Gordon?"
Oh, yeah, I know Randy well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was visiting him last summer. We went and visited him at his house. Uh,
Okay. I don't know Randy Gordon. I don't know him. I'm still learning a lot of people right there, Joe.
yeah.
Randy Gordon, good stuff right there. Beagle, yeah, Joe knows. Joe knows. Hey, that's a good phrase right there. Joe knows. Might
As a
need
matter
to
of fact,
trademark
Randy
that.
he'll be the guest MC for our Hall of Fame dinner, November
Okay,
18th for the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame. He did
when
it
was that?
last year
September.
and did a great job.
Okay, okay. So the one for this year is September. Is it
It's November 18th at Mohegan
November
Sun.
18th? Okay, November
Yeah.
18th. Gonna try to make it up there. I was talking to Melissa about it, and we were saying to ourselves, "Hey, we've never been to Connecticut." Joe mentioned this and all this stuff, and we were saying, "You know what? We need to try and make it up there to check out the Hall of Fame dinner." We're gonna try to make it happen, Joe. We're gonna try to make that happen for sure.
That'd be wonderful. Please let me
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's not too far.
Yeah.
It's like 5 hours, 5 hours drive, which is not bad.
I'll introduce you to New Haven Pizza.
Okay, hey, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that for sure. So I'll
Yeah.
definitely let you. I'll definitely let you know there, Joe. I'm gonna be in contact for sure. And Bruce Gas, real quick. Bruce Gas says, "Did you have to stay in good shape to ref a couple of 10 or 12 round fights at a night? Did you ever get winded?"
No, I don't know if I ever did back to back 10 rounders. Yeah, I've done that stuff. Yeah, I won't want to do it today.
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I've
Hey,
done
they're
that stuff.
always in need
No,
of
I
judges.
was always in pretty good shape. I was a jogger. I used to jog like 7 miles a day. So
Okay,
I was, I had good foot movement in the ring. I was always proud of that. I was always in good position. But, it was great
okay,
to be in the ring. I always loved it. But never forgot
okay,
my main focus was the fighters and the safety of the fighters.
okay. Good stuff right there, Joe. Good
And you
stuff.
got to know when to retire. I knew when to call it quits too.
Hey,
I
yeah.
knew when. Mhm.
That's good to go right there. Some people don't. Some people don't. I hope I know
Yeah,
one of these days
I,
myself.
yeah. No, you got a long way to go, Josh, but you'll do well. But yeah, some officials got to recognize when it's time, and they will. All my guys that I've worked with, I'm very comfortable about their abilities, and met some great people in boxing.
Okay, good to go right there. That is good. Good to know there, Joe. I know I can always reach back on you to get some of those pointers right there. Bruce Gass says, "Does Joe know George Jakovich? Do you know
Yakovich?
George Jakovich?"
No, I don't think so.
Okay, George Jakovich. So yeah, I don't know him either there, Joe. So that's Bruce Gass. So he knows. Hey, so me, Joe, I look into the history a lot, but I usually go back to like the late 1800s and mid to late 1800s and early 1900s.
I
So I'm
I
still
watched
learning
your
so
show
much
the
about.
other day. Yeah, I was amazed at the stuff you were talking about the other day. I was impressed. You do
Okay,
know your
okay.
stuff, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still learning about some of these other individuals, like even in more recent times, just from digging back into that history and all that stuff. So I learned so
Yeah.
much just from just
Yeah.
chatting with different individuals. Bruce is one of them.
Yeah.
Bruce mentions George works for HBO Boxing. Bruce says he'll go to the Mohegan Sun as well. Bruce is down to go. He's in, I believe Bruce is in Rhode Island, so that's not too far from
Eh, Rhode
Connecticut.
Island's a great boxing state. Great
Oh yeah,
history
yeah.
coming from
You
Rhode
know,
Island.
It's
Yeah.
one of those. I got to get there. We might have to intentionally drive to Rhode Island while we're headed to Connecticut, just because we need to be there. It's just one of those states to knock off the full East Coast tour. So,
Oh,
yeah,
you'll
yeah,
love it. Yeah.
yeah. We'll have to
Yeah.
get Bruce up there as well. Bruce, Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame. There, Bruce, he'll travel there. Bruce Gas, he has a channel. It's Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more. And he does a lot of interviews with boxers and all that stuff, Riddick Bowe, etc. And he's very knowledgeable there, like yourself there, Joe. So yeah, that is something. November 18th, Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame. I'm keeping that in mind, Joe. Legitimately, we're gonna make that happen. We're gonna come there.
Yes, sir. That would be great. I'd love to see you guys there. And
Bruce has said he's
I'll
there.
be in touch with you before then. There's some people I'd like to have you meet. You need to meet my friend Mark Allen Baker. He'd make a great guest on your show. He's written a lot of boxing books on Willie
Okay,
Pep and Tony Canzaneri, Lou
Tony
Ambers.
Canzaneri,
Yeah,
great boxers. Lou Ambers.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Wow, that's
yeah,
historic stuff right there. Yeah. I'm gonna be in contact with you. I want to definitely make that happen because I'm always for that. I want to get the books as well. That's an added plus right there to be able to dive into them. That's mainly what I read these days when I'm reading books. I'll read boxing books.
yeah.
Tap
Me
into some
too.
others here and there. Yeah. So many
Yeah,
amazing stories just in boxing. Yeah, you get a mix of everything: the action, drama, the emotional stuff. It's just all of that mixed into one.
yes,
Is that type of sport.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
wow, yeah, this has been great, Joe. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep you all night there, Joe. But November 18th,
I
Connecticut
enjoyed
Boxing
it
Hall of
very
Fame.
much. Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, Joe, yeah, man, this has been so great. It's been so great to just connect with you again. I know it's been a couple of years in terms of us connecting like that. And yeah, November 18th, 2023. Gonna make it happen there, Joe. I appreciate you taking the time to come on, share some of your
Yeah.
history thoughts. This has been great right here.
Loved it. Time flew by.
All
Love
right, hey,
talking
and be sure to
boxing.
tell send your regards to your wife and my spouse Melissa. She told me to tell you hello. She's watching
Yes.
actually, and she told me to tell you hello for sure.
She's probably saying, how did that guy get so old over all these years?
No. That's funny though, Joe. But no, guess
Tell her
what?
I said hello.
Yeah, definitely. I will let her know.
Okay.
So we November 18th. We're gonna
Right.
check you out there, Joe, for sure. So I
Uh,
appreciate you taking the time to drop in and once again and you have a good rest of your night there, Joe.
All right, brother. Thank you. Nice speaking to you. Have a good one.
Thank you. You have a good one as well.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, folks. Joe Cusano. Joe Cusano held it down here. Man, such a great interview. It was so good catching up with Joe. It was great to talk with him. Bruce Gadsden's great show boy. Hey, appreciate you, Bruce there. Hey, we gotta check you out there, Bruce, for sure. Like I said, Bruce, I'm gonna try to make that November 18th Connecticut, Mohegan Sun. I haven't been there, Bruce, and I think it'll be great. I'm gonna try and check that out for sure. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know there, Bruce, and when we'll make it happen for sure. It'd be good to check you out there, Bruce. So I'm definitely down for it. Definitely down for that right there, Bruce. Facebook user, I enjoy your guest, son. Amazing work. Hey, appreciate you there, mother. Appreciate you checking us out there. Joe Cusano, he helped get me into the officiating ranks, and like I had been thinking about it for a while. So it was like 2015, the end of 2015, somewhere late 2015. Just so happened to go down to not down, but up to Verona, New York for the Ruslan Provatnikov versus Lucas Matisse fight at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino. Great fight, of course, by the way, action fight, and ran into Joe there, and it was a great thing. It was a great thing right there. So hey, I ran into him at the Hall of Fame there the day after actually, but great thing. We kept in contact. Became friends on Facebook, all that stuff, kept in contact. Hey, the rest is history. Run into him at another Verona show. So it's kind of crazy how that works. So Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, I'm going on at 9 for Gomez Sanchez. All right, Bruce, going to check that out. There's the links. There's the link, folks, for Gomez versus Sanchez. That was a heck of a fight right there, Bruce. That's one that is one of the best fights right there to just watch and recollect on in history. You had action, all of that. Gomez coming in undefeated. I think he had knocked everyone out, right? Or I believe that was the case. He had knocked everyone out to that point. So there's just big exchanges being made. There, Bruce. So yeah, we're definitely gonna check that out, folks. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe to Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. I mean, if you want to just be connected with great content in general, I wouldn't recommend it if it wasn't. I wouldn't recommend it if it wasn't. He's attuned to the history. Gomez Sanchez tonight. And if you haven't seen that fight, tonight's the night to watch it, especially on the eve or on the anniversary of the actual fight. So no better time than now to actually watch that fight. No better time than now to actually watch that fight. Bruce Gatz, Boxing Jazz says I heard his name before, and it's good to put a face in that. Good stuff there, Bruce. Good stuff. Hey, as always, Bruce, it's good to connect. Small world in boxing. Small world for sure. It's crazy. You'll run into varying different individuals and all of that stuff. Pretty crazy. Mom said it was me. So yeah, good stuff there. My mom, we dropped in to check it out. Appreciate you there, mother. Appreciate you there. Bruce says many interesting facts about the fight I will talk about. Okay, good stuff there, Bruce. Yeah, I will be there. I will be there without a doubt there, Bruce. I appreciate it for sure. I appreciate you dropping by there, Bruce. Joe Cusano, yeah, retired pro official. Of course, you go through the amateur ranks to get to that point, all that stuff. But yeah, just a happen chance situation. Just so happened to run into him at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. The only time I've been there thus far, at least. I need to drop by there again. I want to, next time I'm in Verona or heading from a show in Verona, I got to stop by there. Because I took some pictures there at the International Boxing Hall of Fame, and it was pretty awesome. I know they had Joe Lewis's gloves or sparring gloves. I think it was his sparring gloves. So crazy seeing those gloves from way back then. You see all the wear and tear and all that stuff. It's pretty amazing. And of course, the standout thing, I've mentioned this a number of times on varying shows, is just seeing the fist castings, because they always do those. But the size of Primo Carnero's fist is unbelievable. Primo Carnero's a huge dude. So to think about the dudes that he was in there with, Joe Louis knocked him out, of course, as you know. But man, you see Primo's fist is ridiculous. Beagle 47, stop the car to type. Great interview. Thanks. Hey, appreciate you, Beagle. Beagle 47, salute to you there, Beagle, as always. Great chatting, interacting with you there, Beagle. Always showing some love in here. Hey, everyone, show some love to Beagle 47, the Beagle in the avatar, all that good stuff there, Beagle. Oh man, it's always great. It's It's always great having you in there, Beagle chat, some great questions and all that stuff. Brought up someone, hey, Joe knows and all that stuff. Hey, I'm still learning about a number of these individuals myself there. So that is pretty awesome. The great Willie Pep. So Joe knew Willie Pep. I mean, Willow the Wisp. Just think about that. Just think about the pantheon of great fighters. Certainly one of them right there. Some would argue the greatest defensive fighter in the history of the sport right there. Just think about that. That's pretty crazy. And there's some interviews out there with Willie Pep out there on YouTube, that is, and it's pretty amazing to see. Just seems like just a genuine guy. It's always good to just, get some of that recollection, see some of those interviews. It's always a plus and added thing. So I'm happy. I'm always happy for it. And then it was cool. It just so happened to run into Joe and just kind of maintain contact in. So 2015 it was. Crazy how time flies, right? Crazy how time flies. So yep. And then I hit him up. He gave me all the info I needed to. And then I ended up registering with USA Boxing. Became official there in 2015. Well, late 2015. But I didn't officiate my first fight until 2016, June of 2016. But I had worked at a number of gyms and all that stuff, did some practice stuff and all that stuff prior to. So I felt pretty much good and prepped prior to such. Thanks to some great people that were working with me there in and around the sport. Of course, Latasha Washington being one of them, gave me all those pointers and all those tips and working with me there firsthand at the Headbangers Gym here in DC. Used to go there all the time to get in there and work on some officiating, sparring, all that good stuff. Jamie Harris, salute to Jamie Harris, Bug Harris, all that good stuff. It's all been good. And of course, Barry Hunter runs it, the main coach there. And it's good stuff right there. A lot of good young fighters who've come out of DC. So, I've been privileged to just be there and learn from a number of these great officials. Jose Flora, I mean, you name it, I can go. Eric Irizarry, he has a number of stuff that he's done. You see them, these are all pros right here, and they do their thing. So there's so many I've learned from just over the course of this time. Tamara McKinney, DC Boxing Hall of Fame. Yeah, Candy Jacobs. Salute. Yeah, check out Hogo Boxing, hogoboxing.org, hogoboxingfoundation.org as well. It's going to be a good show coming up there. Going to try and get Candy and Tamara on. We're going to talk about this. Going to be a big amateur show, Palmer Park. That's where Sugar Ray Leonard is from. So that is going to be going down on September 16th. It's going to be worthwhile. I'm going to try to get it streamed, all that good stuff. Streamed the 9. So let me see, September 16th. So, September 16th. So be on the lookout for that. It's the Palmer Park show. And more the info to come on that. Going to try and get an interview jumping off of that. Might post some stuff, all that good stuff. So, this has been great, of course, being able to chat. Appreciate Joe Cusano coming on. Had a good time discussing all of the varying things surrounding his career, some of the stuff he'd been involved with, tapped into a bit of the history, all that good stuff. More to come for sure. More to come. Going to try to get some others on. Been dealing with some, getting some work done here at the house, as a matter of fact. So look to try to get something jumping off maybe Friday. Could be out Thursday. So maybe Friday, something next. Or the next live or something. I have to determine. I'll look to see what it's going to end up being. But we'll make it happen. Next or this coming Friday. Something will go down, whether it's an interview or we'll talk about someone in history. But we'll make something happen. But man, must say, I appreciate everyone being here tonight. This is great. Thank you to all who dropped in. I mean, as always, my mom dropped in, of course, Rodolfo, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, Random Acoustic Thoughts dropped in the building, Beagle, Bodge dropped in. I mean, so much great stuff right there. So I appreciate everyone who dropped in here. So we will be back. Look for something here soon regarding Friday. So I'll be tapped in with you. In the meantime, Thank you to everyone. You hear my dog there barking. Barrow's the name. She's telling me get the heck out of here. So I guess I got to get the heck out of here. What she says goes. I'll be checking out Bruce. And if you're on here right now, be sure at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Check out Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz. Follow that channel. Follow that channel right now. He dropped a link in there as well. We're going to go over there to watch Gomez Sanchez. That's going to be a heck of a fight. If you haven't seen it, tune in for sure. All right, folks. Have a good one. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your night.